What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be checking out a video from Beyond Borders. How fast is the sea swallowing Britain? I recently did a video by myself about this road in the UK that was washed out by the recent storm surge. And a lot of people in the comment section of that video were talking about how certain areas on the British coast are basically being eroded so much that houses are in danger of basically falling into the ocean.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know about this.
I don't know anything about this because even the idea of a road being completely gone because of ocean tidal surge or whatnot is so new to me because I never grew up on the coast. I obviously lived within a few hours of the coast, but I was never at the coast enough to really see things like that happening. Now, obviously, we know we've experienced like flooding, putting like mud on roads and whatnot, but never anything like where maybe your home and your roads are at risk of completely disappearing because of massive erosion. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, that looks crazy.
That is crazy. And so like, I can see like, depending on how long this takes, this obviously looks like it could be in danger of disappearing at some point. But based off the comment section, this seems like this is pretty common and a very big deal in certain areas. So I thought it'd be interesting to look into. So enough rambling, guys. Let's go ahead and jump in here and check out how fast is the sea swallowing Britain.
Two villages within walking distance of one another on a bleak and unforgiving stretch of Britain's east coast. One, Walcott, saved by a multinational corporation.
What is this?
Oh, it's
what is that?
What are those called? Are they jetties? Is that what they are?
I have no idea. I've heard of the term jetty, but I have so little experience with coastal type things that I'm not really sure. But it looks like they have a wall of some sort here.
Which is smart.
An awful lot.
That is smart.
And we do get other benefits from the terminal because they appreciate that we just have the nuisance of their lorries and everything up and down all the time.
Another,
it's beautiful.
Jasper, left to the elements.
It's not a case of saying it can't be afforded. You can't afford not to unless we're just going to say bye-bye UK. You know, is that what we're going to do?
Wow.
Yeah, you can see where it's been eaten
see how it's cut.
Two British communities just a few miles apart and two very different strategies for dealing with this.
Oh,
and
wow.
One of them says it's been left high and dry, so to speak. Welcome to Beyond Borders.
Left to sink rather than high and dry, say those in Hasbro. At the current rate of erosion, it is possible that the whole of the village will be claimed by the sea within 80 years.
Oh my goodness.
The Saxon church,
whole village?
the ancient burial ground, the 17th century inn.
That is so sad.
The lighthouse, which was built in 1790, had a twin. That's gone. Submerged.
Wow.
How long before this one goes?
Well, in theory, what they're saying is this lighthouse could turn into an island because the water should come round both sides of it. And that's the latest prediction.
Wait.
All the way up there.
All the way up. All this.
Yeah.
All of this disappearing. That's how bad it is.
That's sad, man.
That is sad, and that's
They're
incredible.
just like, whatever.
That doesn't make any sense. Like, you got these two villages or towns that are very close to each other. One is protected, they built a wall or whatnot, and the other they're just allowing this to happen.
Maybe it's a smaller area and they just don't have the infrastructure to be able to afford it. I don't know.
Like, I don't know how long they're talking about. 80 years basically said this could disappear, but like I don't know how long they're talking about, for example, this lighthouse being here at this rate. But to imagine that all of this being potentially gone in, a number of decades, that is wild. Like, that's a lot of erosion.
It really is.
Bryony Nerop Redding saw her last home in Hasbro disappear over the edge in 2013.
I'm very bitter about it, actually.
I bet.
And not only had we had proper defences in, if they'd have left the old defences there instead of tidying up the beach.
Are you kidding me?
My house would still be there because when I moved in, I had about 25 years there. Because the cliff was only receding slowly, because there was in the sea there were rocks. There were the old revetments, which, although a lot of the wood had gone, they were breaking the force of the waves. And then there was a pile of metal pipes filled with concrete. Very, very ugly, but it did actually work.
Brian?
So they removed the defenses to make the beach look nicer.
Clean it up and like.
I mean, I get wanting to have a beautiful beach. I understand that, but if you're
people's homes are at stake.
Yeah, if I would rather have my home safe than a beautiful beach, you know. But like, that's incredible, man. So they actually did have something that was slowing this down, but not anymore.
Annie has moved about 50 metres and won't leave, even
Is that a
though
road?
the authorities
Oh
would
my
like her
God.
to be away from the coast. There was something called the Pathfinder scheme, which offered residents 40% of the value of their homes if they moved to a safer place.
40%?
She turned that offer down.
We've got to think about our children's children's children now. And with these current plans of managed retreat and adaptation and rolling back, all that is saying is we're going to just abandon our country to the sea and we're just going to retreat. And it's not very British retreating in the first place, which is one thing that annoys me. You know, we've beaten off or sorted out loads of invasions of one kind or another, and we did manage to keep coastal erosion under control while sea defences were being built. It's this abandonment which gets up my nose.
Next door is Nicola Bayliss, the two homes still dangerously close to the edge, and she's planning to move, along with her collection of caged birds.
That's sad.
They might be able to relocate me, so that'll probably be council accommodation. But
this is worth
Epic
quite a lot.
money.
Was worth quite a
Yeah,
lot.
if it was in another location, I've been told 2 years ago when I had it evaluated, it would be worth 375,000. But where it is, it's 125. But who would
125,
buy?
so that's a third of what you
Wow.
think its market value would be
Yeah.
if it weren't for this problem.
Exactly. So
You're going to lose a lot of money, aren't you?
yeah, definitely. So you know, this is my home, but I've also got a holiday let in the village. I can move there if I wanted to, but this was my parents' home originally. So
But that's just life,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
You can't do anything about it.
No.
The local bin man wanted to buy a house but couldn't get a mortgage. We are in the beach
Do not walk close to the top or the bottom of these cliffs.
car park next to a large drop.
I think they've got a plan to move the car park into the next field at some stage.
And the extraordinary thing is, I mean, just look at it. It's eating in
Yeah.
day by day. And this isn't even a rough day,
No,
is it?
no, this isn't a rough
crikey.
day.
If we swing round, come over here, Mark. If we swing round and take a look at this, you know, it's relatively calm,
This is calm,
isn't it?
yep. And actually, only 2 weeks ago, the bottom of the ramp got washed away.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Tide.
Literally in real
the bottom
time.
Of the ramp
Just
was washed away. It was shut for about a week.
Come with me over here. Because I want to look at this. This is what it used to be like. I don't know how many years ago, but we
Well,
are...
this actually, I mean, this... Where are we now? We're
probably just there, aren't we?
So...
Holy!
And there used to be a whole road here with houses all up here. This was the
That
house.
is crazy.
In fact, that's the house that they've taken down where the emergency sign is. That was taken down about a month ago. And I think the cliff now probably is like that.
Wow.
Rob Good.
That's incredible. That is incredible, guys. What? Okay, I understood based off the comments that there was a lot of erosion going on, but that's insane at the speed. I mean, this is just a few years, it sounds like, and they are already way back here. And I think he said over here they were like around here. And so the car park, they're going to have to move it soon because it's at risk of washing away.
Oh my word.
That means if the car park's at risk of washing away, these houses are going to start being at risk in a very short period of time, it sounds like.
Yeah. It's
Wow.
really mind-blowing to me how fast it's happening.
Yeah, that's insane. I've never seen anything like this before.
Rob Goodliff is coastal manager for the local council.
We can protect some locations, but some locations we can't protect anymore. The reasons are, for things to be protected, we have to be technically able to do it, so that's one thing. We have to be able to afford to do it,
Wow.
and that's a real challenge, because cedar fences are extremely expensive.
I bet it is very expensive.
it would be
also
very labor intensive.
environmentally acceptable to do it, so it's not going to have a bigger impact on the wider coastline and various other things along the coastline.
Are you?
You know, that's something I'm curious. Like, if you do build some sort of protection here, he's talking about it could have effects on other parts of the coastline. What could change? Is it just like because it's
water displacement going somewhere else?
Right. So is it going to negatively affect other areas down the line because you're setting up some sort of barrier
That is something
here?
I didn't think about. But
then,
I mean, still,
but an entire town might be washed away in the number of decades. But it's like, couldn't you just build something that slows down the speed and the how hard the waves are hitting? You know, have some sort of barrier,
like a Band-Aid, so to speak, to buy time.
Well, no, I'm talking about you slow down the waves so they don't hit the coast as hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Saying, therefore, that it's not worth the money?
No, it's not. It's not us saying it's not worth the money. It's about the government prioritising where it spends money and how it spends money.
Well, that sounds like the government doesn't think it's worth spending the money.
But it's also about the wider picture as well. So in some locations, and I'm not saying this one, in some locations,
well, this is the one we're talking
lots
about.
and lots of money if it was available. It's unlikely to be. But you still may not be able to do anything because it might not be technically viable. You might not be able to design something which is going to work.
Well, how come they can do that up the coast, where Shell, the big company Shell,
Good
has been
question.
able to protect that area? How come?
The one up the coast was predominantly private funding from the gas terminal. Most of it didn't come from government. So
Okay, but wasn't he just saying the main issue wasn't the funding? It was other things like environmental, something about affecting other areas. So if what they did here, is it causing a negative effect down the line or not? You know what I mean? And again, I'm curious what this does. Like, how does this benefit? Like,
It seems like it breaks up the waves. And
maybe it does. Maybe that's what it does. You're right. And then it's like softens it as it comes in.
Lessens the force because you have less of a wave to crash.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Thirds of that funding came from private funding. If that private funding hadn't come forward, that scheme would not have happened, and those communities wouldn't have been protected either.
Absolutely.
So here,
Yes or no, it could be done here if the money was available.
So here you would have to do an environmental assessment on whether it could be done. You'd have to look at whether technically it would work or not. If you had 20 to 40 million pounds possibly, you could extend your or you could have extended that scheme, but the funding wasn't there to do that sort of
it's important
for that area.
Do me a favour and answer the question. If the money was available, it could possibly be done here.
If we had funding...
They never want to give a direct answer, do they?
And it could be prioritised to this location rather than somewhere else.
Is that what this is? Breaking up the waves of it?
Yeah, I think
how
so.
you could slow erosion rates down in this location.
And then there's Walcott, which is a short drive or even shorter walk up the coast, and is neighbour to Shell, which from its Bacton plant here delivers about 1/3 of the UK's entire gas supply.
Wow.
It is a sensitive site, as we discovered.
You've been seen around there filming.
Okay.
I appreciate from what you're saying, you're doing it for legitimate reasons, but we need to just make sure that's all in order and everything.
I mean, we just thought, it's a public road, we'll walk down with the camera.
I'm not suggesting you have done anything wrong.
Okay,
it's just
cool.
more just to make sure that everything's all in order and everything like that.
Absolutely.
All right.
Wow.
Shell delivered a local miracle in 2019.
What are they doing?
Paying 2/3 of the $25 million cost of building a new sandbank off the coast at Walcott, designed to absorb the force of the waves after the village had been...
I would love to know how this whole system they're putting together here works. I don't understand the mechanism of what they're doing here exactly.
Well, I think the tubing isn't staying there. I think they're just using that to
drain,
pile sand and stuff.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
To build
drain
the
the sand into the area.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. But
yeah, it does look like a very labor-intensive process.
Yeah.
Flooded countless times. The government's Environment Agency gave less than 1/4 of the cost. 6 weeks
look at that.
was all it took to dredge up 1.8 million cubic metres
Only
of
6
sand
weeks?
and dump it at Walcott. A new beach and defences to last maybe 15 years had arrived.
That's it. It's only going to be 15
Shell
years.
and the UK's gas interests were safe for now, and Walcott was that little bit more protected, even if sitting in my car, it appeared a fight that only nature would eventually win.
Really, you can feel the car being buffeted by these winds.
Wow.
Up to 45, 50
That
miles
looks,
an hour.
yeah, those look like rough waves.
Harsh.
Here's the sea wall. This is in Walcott. And yeah, of course it's stopping the full force of the waves going over the road, but...
Is it going to wash out from underneath somehow, eventually?
Well, there's concrete all down, but maybe.
But how far down? I don't know, obviously.
Yeah.
This would easily be swamped, as it was in the past.
Yeah, you can imagine that would be, like, just flooded.
Sandscaping really does make a difference. Walcott has it.
Sandscaping.
Haysborough doesn't. It's rough out there.
Yeah.
Once they did all the landscaping, it looked really good. You know, we didn't see the breakers and it was like, oh wow, big beach. Now, it seems to be the same. To me, it seems the same again as it was. I know that the people from the cafe think it still worked because the sea hasn't come over the wall. But I don't know. When I was driving along just now, I saw that the whole pavement is wet. So the sea has come over the wall. I don't know.
Since they did the seascaping, we haven't seen the water coming over the wall like it used to. Although we've just been talking this morning and saying it's hitting the wall this morning, the sea, when it comes in, and it vibrates in the house and everything.
When the storm...
Yeah.
Oh, so before they sandscaped this area, as they called it, they had the wall, but the wall was not fully protecting the water from coming over. Now that they sandscaped, it seems like the water's not coming over the wall.
So the wall's always been there?
I don't think always, but I think that they're saying that... I thought that they built the wall and then it stopped what was going on, but it sounds like it was the sandscaping itself that has really made more of a difference with them. Look at this.
That was in 2013, yeah.
And that's like obviously a wall, so that's pretty incredible, guys. Wow.
Was here 2013. I noticed you've put all the electrical bits right up high.
Wow.
All the plugs, everything like that.
Yeah.
How high up in here did it come?
Oh my goodness, that's like a hurricane.
In here.
So up to here?
I believe so, yeah. We weren't here at the time. But the doors came in, and obviously followed by a deluge.
Come with me over here.
Yeah.
We're just going to have a look at those palings outside there, all that wood that you've put in.
Yes.
What does that do?
The water comes over with a deal of force. It just saves the impact hitting the building.
Yeah.
Pauline Porter remembers the day the dredger arrived with the sand for the sea defences.
And I can't describe the elation when that ship came in.
I bet it was a good feeling.
We'd had some near misses with high tides and things, and we'd just keeping our fingers crossed that we got through
been
to
6 years,
August.
6 years since this terrible storm, hasn't it?
We were just keeping our fingers crossed that we'd get through to Sandscape, and then the ship came, and there were tears of joy, literally tears of joy. And for the weeks that they were here, the whole of the beach was lined with people, obviously off the beach.
I bet people were really excited about that.
Near as we could get. Vantage points, and people would go for the whole day, take sandwiches, bottles of wine.
To watch them celebrate.
All the time watching this. Because
it would be interesting.
It'd be exciting.
It was something to see. It was quite amazing to
It looks
watch.
amazing.
It was paid for mostly by Shell. Well, not just Shell, because there were four companies up at the terminal then. The gas terminal, yeah. Yes, because they lost a substantial amount of cliff, and obviously they're of national importance. So they had to do something to protect themselves.
You know, so in a roundabout way, you feel a little bit blessed that you have this massive mega corporation right there that benefits from having the area.
Up to that point, you're probably like, ugh, this is my backyard, you know?
Yeah, but then you're thankful because they put up a huge amount of funding, not the entirety, but a huge amount of it. Yeah, this is unfortunate, guys. It really is.
Iniquities between Haysborough and Walcott are pushed away by some with the suggestion that Haysborough and the coast beyond it will get part of the new defences in years to come as sand is washed south. But it's not just Haysborough that's had little help. Beyond Bacton and Walcott, to the north, is Trimmingham. And it's here that we meet Angie,
so it's like the entirety of the area,
who had the coastal portfolio until she was sacked for voting against a rise in council tax.
And I don't want you to go too close either.
How close can we get?
Well, there could be a slight overhang.
All right, well, let's not get too close. Yeah.
That is what fell down.
So the bit of land we can see down here was once up here.
Oh my
goodness.
And it went the whole lot.
What?
It does look like mud.
One bang, big slump.
Oh my
god.
Was the pub still here at that point? So
no.
Gone.
Wow.
But you can see the water down there.
Wow, yeah.
And really...
But this wasn't the sea that did this.
No.
It was just rainwater.
Yeah.
What?
Just became sodden.
This is what happens along this coast.
She takes...
How? What? Hold on, guys. I got to see that. Okay, so this was all up where they're at the level where they're at, and somehow it just fell.
So is the coastline literally just earth and mud? Like, not because I'm used to like cliffs being stone or some type of rock.
We don't like when we go to the beach. It's like it's already flat. It's all flat. There's no cliffs, and I understand there's cliffy, rocky beaches in the U.S., but that's not the beaches that we really have experience with because that's usually up north or in the northwest.
Mm-hmm.
But that is wild to me. That was level, and then somehow it just falls.
Like a mudslide or something.
I was thinking that at first when she said that, I'm thinking that the water went underneath it and then washed it out and then just went
unstable or
something. But that doesn't. She says it's the rainwater, so it's not what I was thinking. I don't even understand how that would happen.
It does make sense because look where the waves are down there.
No, I know. I'm just saying though, like that's wild. That's absolutely wild.
Yeah.
And really...
But this wasn't the sea that did this. It was just rainwater.
Yeah, it's...
Just became sodden.
This is what happens along this coast.
She takes us to meet Martin Collingham, who moved out of Cliff House to a smaller home next door because of mobility issues.
Is on the
he believes that underpinning the chalk that his home sits on means it is in no danger.
Chalk?
That's what he said.
So you're just going to stay here?
As long as I can.
Is it going to go
to the sea?
That was underpinned on chalk by a firm in Norwich.
Wow.
It's underpinned into the chalk and that won't go in. That'll be there before we go.
Solid, but for how long?
Oh my God.
This whole
that is incredible.
coastline is moving inland. We head to Hemsby, south of Haysborough. It is a vast holiday area with amusements, cafes, and a beautiful beach, which when we visited was out of bounds.
It's been closed on the advice of the lifeboat helmsman, Chris, who's with us here. And apparently it's only going to get worse. The wind and the rain and the waves coming in. It's not going to be opened up anytime soon.
There's calculations done by central government, and if we don't qualify, we don't qualify. I mean, there was a big interview done on local radio this week where a government official was saying about another, not Hemsby, but another area related to Hemsby, that they didn't qualify for any funding from the government. The government has set aside a significant amount of money, but they didn't qualify. I don't know the exact algorithm they use, but I do know that it's related to the number of dwellings, and if the dwellings number is low, then that's lower down the pecking order for sea defences.
So it's tough luck for them, really.
Pretty much. But then there is the other side of the coin is what is the return on investment? And so for Hemsby and the local area, the return on investment is well over 80 million a year. The tourist industry brings to this area about 80 million in revenue each year. So a proportion of that obviously funds the government through taxes, etc. If we don't have a beach, we don't have a tourist industry, that 80 million stops. So that in itself justifies having some degree of defence.
I mean, I get that.
I think defences could cost.
Sucks,
I mean, they
though.
talk about just
it really
this area
does.
here, just the Hemsby Gap. A short-term solution is about 250,000, but that 250,000 would protect an 80 million income for a short period of time. The main project might cost as much as 15, 20 million, but it's saving 80 million of revenue. So for me, it makes
oh my goodness.
Would you be nervous if that was
well, if I lived there,
These holiday
yeah.
chalets are too close.
Oh,
the occupants
man.
in too much danger in the storm that follows. And the buildings become the latest casualties
Man,
when
that's
it's
sad.
calm enough for the demolition
People's lives,
company to
their
move
homes
in.
just gone.
All of which presents problems for safety beyond the homes. This sheer drop was recently a gentle slope down which the lifeboat was launched.
Oh my word.
Well, you can see how steep this is, sheer actually. I'm 6 foot and this is what, 2 feet taller than me, so an 8 foot drop. Absolutely straight down. And the lifeboat would normally go out through this gap, they'd tow it down here, and it would just come straight down. On a slope, it's absolutely
That's what the rocks were. That was
now.
like that.
And the lifeboat, well, it would go out maybe 50 times a year. It can't go out at all at the moment.
Back in
That is
Haysborough,
crazy.
we talked to local councillor Clive Stockton, who owns the 16th century Village Inn. He was told his pub had 300 years left when he bought it 30 years ago. He's now having to revise that estimate.
At that time, the policy for this coast was hold the line, and the survey gave us a life of 300 years.
Now it's what?
20 if we're looking.
20.
How come?
Yeah, because government changed its position.
Oh my
Went from
goodness.
hold the line to no active intervention, to managed retreat, and now it's managed realignment. So it's a change in government policy.
That'd be frustrating.
That'd be
Our
really
defences
frustrating.
from the late 50s, early 60s have gone, they've collapsed, past their design life, and now we are on an undefended piece of coast, and about to suffer the consequences.
Just out of luck.
And they will be what?
Total loss of the place. Total loss of everything we own.
Total loss.
It's our home, it's our business. If this pub
And it's
was
history.
anywhere else other than in the dangerous position it's in, it would be worth a great deal of money. Probably close to $1 million. But as it is, it's virtually unsaleable. Its only value is in what we can turn over in the next
20 years.
However many years we can be in business.
You knew that the sea was coming in. You knew that the land was falling away. Would it have been wiser not to believe somebody when they said you got a couple of 100 years?
Well, you say believe somebody. It was the Shoreline Management Plan, which is the government's own document.
Why wouldn't you believe what they say? You know, like, that is extremely sad for numerous reasons. You know, you got to wonder, I'm sure the man may have kids. He may have been planning on passing this down to his kids and his grandkids for, generations. And now that dream is all vanished, if that was what he was going to do. And the history gone there is, like, I wonder if there's a way to, obviously, I know you can move buildings. I wonder how hard it would be to move an old building like that.
I was wondering about that too.
I mean, you think, like, if you literally have no choice but just to watch this happen because you can do nothing about it, would it be beneficial? Would it be beneficial to actually try to move the building? I know, their buildings or houses are all moved all the time. I've seen numerous houses, old houses, taken apart and then they move it. I just don't know how hard it would be with an old pub like that,
The sleet is horizontal, the wind's 80 kilometres an hour, and waves hammer the coastline and chip away the only protection these homes have. When we meet the local MP, Duncan Baker, at the top of Haysborough Lighthouse.
If Shell can put in that money and save Walcott to some extent, for its own ends, if you like, because it has to have the gas plant there, why can't the government put the money in here, somewhere like Haysborough, do the same,
and save those houses. Just can't afford it, not
we
worth it.
We are an island nation. I don't think we can probably practically build up our beaches around the entire stretches of the United Kingdom and practically use taxpayers' money to do that, to save every inch of our coastline. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. You've got to be practical, you've got to be sensible, you've got to help the people who are most at risk and most vulnerable, and that's what we're doing with that CTAP money. There are metrics around what you do with the investment programme and with that strategy. And that's why the money that we've been given will look at how we help these communities. Now, is it going to be that we're going to replace sea defences? Is it that we're going to build another beach? Probably not, because recognising that actually, is that viable? Is it economically viable? Is it even going to do the job? And that's a big issue as well, because, looking at today, will anything be able to counteract what the sea is doing?
It's sad, man.
Yes.
The lighthouse didn't help when one of Admiral Nelson's fighting ships, the HMS Invincible, ran aground on Haysborough Sands in 1801.
They got a beautiful little cemetery.
400 people on board
and
died.
That'll be gone.
Standing on a grave, I feel a bit wrong about that, but...
119 bodies were eventually recovered and are buried at Haysborough's St Mary's Church.
Yeah, well...
At least they're remembered here.
Exactly, it's there for a reason. When you think it was almost 200 years before their body was discovered.
Wow.
Amazing.
It is amazing.
Now, the work you would say,
look at this
the sea's
beautiful
always
church.
going to win, as it did with these poor souls. So is everything they're trying to do with any kind of defences pointless?
No, this whole subject is full of irony. Of course it isn't pointless, because if you use hard defences, you can slow the erosion down to a much, much more manageable level. So you don't let it run rampage. The problem comes is if you use hard defences in one area, you create other problems further down-drift. So it'll probably erode faster where there are no defences than it would have done had you not put it. For example...
You're channeling the force elsewhere.
Yeah, and you're concentrating the power in one area.
Yeah.
That's the issue, I guess.
It's okay if you can defend the whole coast because you're creating an equilibrium, an unnatural equilibrium, but an equilibrium nevertheless.
What do you think here should be done? You say you can't stop it.
Well,
so what should be done? Do you want everybody to move away from the sea?
Well, I personally, for many years, I've been advocating adaptation, rollback. In other words, in perfectly simple terms, as they drop off the front, you rebuild landward.
But that might never stop. You might have to end up further and further and further inland.
But that's nature. We are an island nation. We can't change that.
On the naval tombstone in the graveyard, and the sea gave up the dead that were in it. At the current rate of land loss, it may not be long before it reclaims them.
How quickly this can happen. One day this was farmland, the next morning, well, you can see just one enormous hole. But what makes this really interesting is that it wasn't the sea that caused the slip, it was heavy rain on top of unstable
That's interesting
sand.
to me. I don't understand.
And there's not much you can do to defend against that.
No.
The questions then for those in charge of protecting Britain's vanishing coastline. What is it possible to save? What should we prioritise? And who or where comes top of the list? Finding answers to those questions becomes more important by the day.
Wow.
It is a very hard decision to make. I mean...
It is, I get that. But this is... it's a big deal. So many people, obviously their home, their life is in this area. And I'm sure this is going on in a number of different areas.
Oh, yeah.
But that man said, I'm trying to find, there it is. I want to see the coast there. But he was talking about how are we supposed to, we're an island nation, so how are we supposed to protect the entire coast?
Yeah.
But my question is, how much of the coast is like this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, surely not the entirety of the coast. I mean, and there's going to be plenty of areas on the coast, I'm sure, that don't have buildup of towns and villages and cities. So, like, I mean, sure, it makes sense that you're not going to build up the entire coast, but, like, I mean, it's just sad. It's just really sad. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if they could come up with the money for it because, I mean, it is true, like, there are going to be lots of areas that are probably dealing with something similar, I guess.
I don't think there's any perfect solution, obviously. What I'm wondering, though, is if, obviously it's not going to happen, but if for some miracle they happen to just preserve the whole coastline where the part of the UK where this is happening in England, and then what happens to the other areas that are being affected by this?
Does that now change?
Now cause other areas to become like that?
Yeah, you know, it
like a ripple effect kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think obviously people know better than us because we're just learning about this, but you know, it sounds like they're not going to do much of anything else to help protect this area, unfortunately. And it's such a beautiful little area, such a beautiful little village.
And I feel for the people who have lived there their whole lives and it was their parents' home. And, you know, it's sad.
Let us know in the comments what, if any, experience you have with this. Have you known people or have you yourself gone through seeing your village or your town be displaced in some regard because of the ocean? You know, obviously it makes sense, but, you know, as someone who's never really lived on the coast, I grew up about 2.5 hours from my closest beach, but even living that close, I would consider that close compared to a lot of people in the U.S. But even living that close, it wasn't something like I didn't go to the beach all the time. I was went to the beach a few times a year, you know, like on vacations. But so I don't know anything about what it's like to actually have life on the coast, what it's like to live on the coast. And so this is very new to me, but really fascinating, but very unfortunate for the people having to go through this. But guys, this was very, very interesting. But I think that's it for us today. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions about this video or others. And don't forget to subscribe to continue to follow us on our journey. Until next time, peace.
Bye.